In this video, we'll be taking a look at 5 college basketball games happening on November 26, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 10 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 5 college basketball games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Syracuse versus Iowa State. The curtain drops on the Atlantic Coast Conference Big 12 action at the MGM Grand, with a matchup that feels more like a survival test than a showcase. Syracuse staggers in after 2 draining battles, while Iowa State arrives undefeated, fresh enough, and armed with a defense that chews the meat off the bone. Syracuse's path here has been a gauntlet. An overtime gut punch against Houston, followed by a bruising loss to Kansas, has left them with legs that seem to belong to someone else. Now they're staring down an Iowa State team that's 6-0 and notorious for denying the middle of the floor like it's sacred ground. That scheme alone exhausts teams. Syracuse, already gassed, is low-hanging fruit. The injury report only tilts the floor further. Syracuse is missing its top forward and spacer, Donnie Freeman. Without his scoring punch and shooting gravity, their offense shrinks. Iowa State, meanwhile, is dealing with the uncertain status of its point guard, Tamin Lipsey. Yet even without him, their identity holds, tough, connected, and relentlessly structured. Joshua Jefferson and Blake Buchanan keep the gears turning, and the defense never blinks. Syracuse, meanwhile, is leaning on transfers William Kyle and Nathan George to shoulder the scoring burden. Without Freeman, though, their margin evaporates. Iowa State can load up on their actions and squeeze every possession until it wheezes. As our first pick for this matchup, the Iowa State Cyclones to cover the spread is our full game side pick. The total tells a similar story. 3 games in 3 days in Vegas usually turn jump shots into knuckleballs. Syracuse's offense already sagged to 60 against Kansas, and now they face a defense even stingier. Iowa State just held Creighton to the same number, and if Lipsey sits or is limited, the Cyclones will likely lower the tempo to avoid unnecessary mistakes. Syracuse would prefer to run, but they simply don't have the bodies to sustain it, not against a defense that treats every drive like a trespass. Expect a slow, physical game built on half-court possessions, contested shots, and the kind of pace that makes time feel heavier. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. USC versus Arizona State. Today we look at a neutral site matchup that brings back a long Pac-12 pairing in a different setting. USC faces Arizona State in a meeting shaped by 2 coaches who guide their teams with distinct approaches. USC enters this season with a roster that came together through the portal, and the staff works to blend players who fit a system built on isolation scoring, pro spacing, and physical guards. Eric Musselman leans on big creators like St. Thomas and Desmond Claude, who use their strength to draw contact and pressure smaller defenders. His scheme rewards size on the perimeter, patient spacing, and matchups that favor controlled half-court play. Arizona State arrives with Bobby Hurley, whose teams rely on energy, pace, and pressure. His groups often thrive when the game becomes loose, and this version adds real talent with the arrival of Josan Sanan and Bashir Jihad. Their presence gives the Sun Devils a higher ceiling without changing Hurley's identity. The offense still leans on guards who drive, attack early in the clock, and seek rhythm through constant motion. This creates swings in performance, since the system accepts risk in exchange for disruption. The focus centers on how each roster handles structure and decision-making. USC holds a size edge on the perimeter, and that length shapes how they match up with Arizona State's smaller guards. The Trojans can switch across 4 spots, which helps them defend dribble penetration, the core of Arizona State's offense. Hurley's group relies on quick shots and gambles on high-variance possessions, which often lead to rushed attempts or turnovers. USC prefers to keep the game in the half-court, where their spacing and physical wings create steady opportunities. Their length, experience, and system favor a slower, more controlled approach that challenges Arizona State's ability to stay efficient for the full game. As our first pick for this matchup, the USC Trojans to cover the spread is our full game side pick. Both teams like to play fast, yet each pushes tempo for different reasons. Arizona State wants immediate offense, seeking a shot within the first 10 seconds. USC runs when the wings can fill space, but they can also settle into a patient rhythm when needed. Both defenses adjust to new rotations, and early season groups often give up clean looks from deep or commit fouls on drives. Musselman's offense generates free throws, and his guards pressure the rim, while Arizona State looks to attack before the defense sets. With Claude driving and Sannon firing from the perimeter, the game features many possessions and open chances created by transition, spacing, and defensive miscues. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Notre Dame versus Houston. Notre Dame arrives after a gritty win over Rutgers yesterday, while Houston comes in with a sharp edge after a tight loss to Tennessee. Standing in front of a group that played with that level of force the night before is never pleasant, and this roster tends to respond with intensity when it takes a hit. Notre Dame has brought steady energy this week, and Marcus Burton has carried the load with poise. He scores over 20 points per game and keeps the offense upright when possessions stall. The challenge grows here because Houston brings a level of pressure that Rutgers cannot match. This defense closes space, bodies drivers, and treats every touch as a fight for control. They gave up 76 points to Tennessee, which is rare for them and sits on their mind. Burton will see traps, and Houston will try to push the ball out of his hands to test the rest of the Irish rotation. On offense, the freshman pair of Kingston Flemings and Chris Senack Jr. add a steady scoring lift to a group that already leans on strength in the paint. Houston sits at 6-1, carries real size with Senack and Joseph Tugler on the glass, and plays with a style that punishes a guard-heavy team on the third day of a tournament. As our first pick for this matchup, the Houston Cougars to cover the spread is our full game side pick. Both teams enter their third game in 3 days under the Las Vegas lights, and that schedule drains jump shooters. Lift fades, legs slow, and clean looks turn into front rim misses. Now Notre Dame must score against the top defensive efficiency unit in the country while Houston slows the pace to a crawl. They treat each trip as a long, physical exchange and avoid any game that turns into a sprint. Their scoring pieces can produce, but they feel no urgency to push the tempo. A result in the mid-60s to low 50s suits them fine. Notre Dame depends on Burton's ability to beat the first defender, and Houston's lateral strength limits those gaps. The rhythm points toward a methodical half-court contest, where both teams work for every shot and the clock moves without interruption. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Northern Iowa versus Tulsa. We are headed to the Kreischer Holiday Invitational in Palm Desert for a non-conference meeting that offers a clear clash of styles. One team enters with an unblemished record of 5-0, using methodical play and firm defensive structure. The other arrives at 4-1, relying on pace, freedom, and perimeter firepower. The contrast gives this matchup its shape long before the ball goes up. Northern Iowa leans on a system that slows possessions, squeezes space, and pushes rivals into half-court sets they would rather avoid. The group allows only 57.7 points per game. That figure reflects how well the roster fits its identity. A transfer forward leads them in points and rebounds, using strong cuts and patient reads. A senior guard steadies the offense with clean entries, simple actions, and low turnover numbers. The entire approach builds tension on each possession, forcing opponents to work through every second of the shot clock. Tulsa brings a much faster rhythm. They average more than 86 points per game and work the perimeter with confidence. Two of their wings shoot without hesitation and attack closeouts with force. Their pace thrives when they can push off misses and turn early offense into clean threes. That rhythm has helped them outscore opponents with tempo, space, and quick decisions. The neutral site adds a factor that shapes the environment. Acrisure Arena has depth and angles that can challenge outside shooters. A program that depends on the paint, short rolls, and controlled pace often benefits from this type of setting. A team that needs rhythm from the arc faces a tougher path when timing and sight lines feel different. Northern Iowa also has a shortened rotation due to an injury, which sharpens their focus and keeps their substitutions tight. If they lead, the game usually becomes a slow, physical contest built around half-court sets and long possessions. Tulsa prefers speed and movement, but they have not faced a defense that removes transition chances at this level so far this season. The tension between fast play and controlled structure defines the flow. Both teams bring clear strengths, and the outcome follows whichever pace holds longer. As our first pick for this matchup, the Northern Iowa Panthers to cover the spread is our full game side pick. The totals picture carries the same split in philosophy. Tulsa has reached the over in 3 of its past 4 games by speeding opponents up and creating long stretches of quick scoring. Their pace creates shot volume that pushes scores higher. Northern Iowa takes the opposite path. They sit at 1-4 on totals, and that reflects how they extend possessions, stay disciplined, and remove transition looks. Their defense forces teams into late clock heaves, which cuts efficiency. They also avoid giveaways, which reduces runouts in either direction. The venue again matters. Neutral courts often disrupt jump shooting because sightlines differ from home setups. This effect tends to favor teams that work inside and reduce long-range attempts. Tulsa depends heavily on perimeter rhythm, so any disruption lowers their scoring ceiling. Northern Iowa plays a deliberate scheme with tight rotation and steady ball control. Their style shapes the game into shorter outings with fewer total possessions. With both teams carrying opposing tendencies, the final total hinges on which identity dominates the pace over 40 minutes. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Colorado State versus Virginia Tech. We are heading to the Imperial Arena in the Bahamas for Feast Week, where the battle for Atlantis brings a lively mix of early season matchups inside its well-known ballroom court. This setting often creates an unusual backdrop for both teams, yet it still produces sharp games that show how programs handle neutral floors. Colorado State arrives with the steady approach that has shaped its identity, and Virginia Tech enters with a roster that looks refreshed and more potent than it has in recent seasons. Virginia Tech opens this round with a roster that carries more upside than it did in past years. The key difference is the addition of Neoclase of Dallas, a 6'8" creator who has stepped into the offense with poised control. His combination of size and playmaking gives the Hokies a primary option who can start actions from several spots on the floor. His presence supports the work of Toby Lawal, now a senior who finishes plays around the rim with confidence and strength. Together they form a clear inside-out structure that fits the system well. Colorado State enters with the discipline that defines Niko Medved's teams. The Rams still run clean actions, yet they lack the high-end athletic burst they showed in earlier seasons. On a neutral court, the flow of the game often leans toward teams that create simple paths to the basket, and Virginia Tech has the personnel to push in transition and generate those looks. Colorado State can maintain control of possessions with its motion offense, yet the matchup highlights how Virginia Tech's lineup can impose its pace as the game develops. As our first pick for this matchup, the Virginia Tech Hokies to cover the spread is our full game side pick. The ballroom court at Atlantis often challenges shooters because the backdrop sits farther away than in most arenas, yet both coaching staffs run systems that rely on clean spacing and smart shot selection. Virginia Tech uses a structure that frees shooters on the perimeter, and Jaden Shutt has settled into his upperclassman role by finding rhythm within that spacing. The Hokies spread the floor and work the ball until they reach open threes or strong drives. Colorado State plays at a measured tempo, but its efficiency stands out. Rashawn Mbemba scores in the paint with reliable touch, and the Rams' cutting patterns force defenses to react and open mid-range and interior chances. Both teams convert at the free throw line with confidence early in the season, which supports scoring late in close games. These traits point toward a game where both offenses reach comfortable totals and land in a scoring range that fits the strengths of each roster. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.